Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Televised Podcast. My name is Anna, and today we're going to be talking about everything Supergirl Season 5, Episode 3. It's called Blurred Lines, and there was definitely some blurred lines happening this episode that I will, we'll get into that. We will. I apologize if my voice sounds a bit rough. I was yelling all weekend. I went to a soccer game yesterday. So Red Stars, NWSL, they made it to the finals. It was incredible. I think we were all screaming, shouting. I mean, I know we were. It was amazing. It was such a good game. But anyway, that's totally beside the point. I just apologize for my voice today because it's a bit tired. So really quick, before we get into everything, I want to talk about Batwoman because that episode that just aired was so good. It was incredible. Like, seriously, it was amazing. And I don't know, I just can't get over how Batwoman just keeps getting better and better and better, like, every episode. Like, it's just so good. If you're not watching the show, what are you doing? Like, everything about Kate and Alice's relationship is incredible. Everything about Mary and Kate, like, they're so funny together. Like, everything about Luke and Kate, Sophie and Kate, like, I don't know, it's just so good, guys. Like, seriously, if you're not watching Batman, it's amazing. Please get on it. Like, it is so good. And this week I was just so impressed by, like, the depth of the characters. Like, I don't know, I think it's just so good. Like, and Alice continues to be the best Arrowverse villain literally ever. Like, I genuinely do not think that there will be another Arrowverse villain like her. I mean, Alice is incredible. Like, seriously, she's amazing. And I just can't get over it. Like, I cannot get over it. It's just so good. And Rachel Skarsten does such an incredible job playing her. And, Ruby is amazing. And they just did the suit reveal last night, which was amazing. Like, I'm so happy, to finally see Kate be Batwoman instead of, dressing up and kind of pretending to be Batman the way that she was. So hopefully, because, I mean, the critical response to this show immediately off the bat was like, she's just being Batman. Like, this is just Batman. I'm like, well, okay, maybe now people are going to be like, fine, she's Batwoman, because she is. And Sophie got to name her, which was amazing and super endgame-y to me. Bat Sophie endgame, for sure. But you're here to listen to me talk about Supergirl, so let's get into it. The episode was 503. It was Blurred Lines. It was good. It was a good episode. It was solid. It was a solid episode. A little bit less memorable, but I think because honestly, this might sound really bad, but I have a rough time remembering the episodes where, like, the Martians or Jean, not Jean specifically, because I really enjoy Jean as a character, but just, I guess, the whole, like, Martian culture, like, or the war or anything like that, when that's, like, the center of the episode. Like, I remember, what episode was that? Was that season, it was either, I can't remember if it was season 3 or season 4. I think it was season 3, the one where Kara takes Jean's car to Mars to, like, go to Mars, and they go to Mars. Like, I thought that episode was, like, super boring. Maybe it's just because I just cannot, I don't know why, but I just can't connect with the Martian storyline, or I just, like, I don't know, I don't care, I don't know. But, like, those episodes where the focus is very heavily on, like, Martian culture and stuff, I'm just not, like, super into them. So this one was kind of like half that, but I enjoyed it. I especially enjoy David's performance as Jean. So I guess we'll talk about Jean first then, because I'm already talking about him. So basically what happened was he enlisted the help of Nia to fill in the blanks of his memory that Malefic says that he's still in the dark. Like, he's like, you're still in the dark, Jean. Like, this is not the whole thing. Like, this, you need to remember the rest. And so Nia was like, well, yeah, I'll help you. So she uses her dream power to, like, tap into Jean's mind and show him his lost memories. And it was, I mean, it was interesting. It was really interesting to see, like, Jean when he was growing up and they, you know, playing that game, playing hide and seek, and learning that Malefic could not connect to the hive mind, which is really interesting. That he couldn't be not controlled, but like he couldn't connect to his peers. And even Jean, he was like, how, you know, it was must have been so isolating for him. Like, he wasn't a monster, he was just lonely and he was scared and he was different. And I really found that very, very endearing and really, you know, like, sympathetic. It made me feel bad for Malefic. And you find out that Jean's dad, Moran, he locked him away, like, for years to try and, like, pray the different away out of him or whatever, which is, you know, not good. It's not good. And so Jean kind of cuts off the dream when he sees his dad in agony over his son, over his very, very different son, and praying like, please, you know, help my son be, you know, I've failed my son. And so Jean kind of cuts off the memory, but then Nia has a nightmare in the middle of the night and she's like, I've got to go tell Jean this. I've got to go show him. So she goes and shows Jean that it was him who wiped their memories of his brother, which was really interesting. Like, because, you know, Jean was very, 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 very upset at the fact that he believed Moran would wipe his brother from his memory, from both his father's, like, from both his own memory and then Jean's memory. He was so upset because that is, like, the cardinal sin of being a Martian. Like, because you can die, but you'll live on in their memory forever because it's this, like, hive mind and they share these memories and they, you know, like, literally, like, they share them between all of them. They, like, share these memories. So he's like, if you kill somebody, if you delete somebody's memories from that, like, there's no going back. You have permanently, like, slain them. It is as if you have killed them. And so Jean was, like, super, super, super upset about that when he believed that it was his father. You know, he was like, he was a holy man. Like, how could he claim to be a holy man his whole life and, like, commit our most cardinal sin? But then when he finds out that it was him who committed this sin, this atrocity of Martianism, he was like, oh my God. Like, he was really, really, really upset at himself for that. But Nia was like, Jean, like, you did it to protect your father and to protect you. Like, your father was so distraught and so distressed, and emotions can kill Martians. At least that's what I believe, I guess. Like, you know, it's like you can die of a broken heart. Like, Martians, I feel like, you know, are super, super, super in tune with their emotions and with their thoughts and with each other. That, you know, he could have genuinely hurt himself and a bunch of other people, including Jean. So Nia was like, you know, you just did what you had to do. Like, you just helped your dad. And he's like, no, I'm, like, a traitor, but you cannot, Nia, you cannot tell anybody what you saw. Which is interesting. I thought that was the most interesting part of all of this, was that he wanted to keep it a secret from everybody. Which I think is interesting because, you know, he's been very open about his past with the White Martians, with himself, with what happened on Earth between him and Jeremiah Danvers. Everything to do with his past, he's been super, super open about. But all of a sudden, like, he doesn't really want to share about his cardinal sin that he committed. But something that he said at the end of the episode where he was like, you know what, you're all in danger because you're associated with me. I think he's doing it to protect everybody else. Because if Malefic knows that everyone knows what Jean did, he could use his mind manipulation powers to get them to like harm Jean or harm themselves like he did with Kelly. Like that was really scary when he made Kelly like hold a piece of glass to her own throat. Like that was horrifying to watch. And I don't know, I'm very, very scared of Malefic, and I can genuinely understand why the Monitor would want like to send him in, like, because he's genuinely like a force to be reckoned with for sure. And why the White Martians liked him, because he could make people do whatever he wants. Like that is insanity. It's crazy. I don't even know. It's just insane. But yeah, so that was kind of quite a bit of the episode was Jean and Nia working through his problems after he kind of not struck out, because he definitely did not strike out with Kelly, but he, you know, didn't find every single answer that he needed. So that was really interesting. I really appreciated that because this season, it feels like the Super Friends are genuinely like the Super Friends. Do you know what I mean? Like in the previous seasons, we really would only see them all together like when they're all together, not like one-on-one, not like you would only like, okay. What I'm trying to say is like if we saw Jean hanging out with Nia, it was always when everybody was hanging out. But now we're seeing Jean and Nia be together like on their own and doing things on their own. And I think that's really cool because it really shows like the dynamics of their friend group, and it kind of solidifies them more as a unit and as a team for me, which I think is really cool because, you know, like I said, we really had only seen the Super Friends interacting with each other in group settings when they're not like with Kara. Do you know what I mean? Like Jean and Nia never would have hung out unless Kara was there. Like there were many scenes of Jean, Nia, and Kara, or like Jean, Nia, Brainy, and Kara, like whoever, but you would never really see like just Jean and Nia like we did this episode. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really interesting and really different and a cool way to use Nia's character, especially because, you know, so far this season she hasn't had a whole lot to do. So that was really cool. And I actually saw a theory online that I thought was really interesting. So this is not mine, but that Nia would be the first one to know about Crisis. I think that's really interesting, and I hope it's true. That's really cool. So jumping into some other characters, Andrea Rojas did not have much to do. She was just being weird and mean as usual. She was like, show me some sparkly dead people. Like, it was very strange. Because basically they're having a meeting at Catco, and oh god, what's that guy's name? Oh no, the guy that got the dragon, or he got the wood chips put in his coffee last season. It's like a weird name. Franklin. It's Franklin. Sorry, any Franklins out there. Just makes me think of that turtle from that kid show. But yeah, so Franklin is pitching this story of people that have recently died and the way that they died. Like, woohoo, how kooky. And Andrea's like, well, that's cool. People love to read about death. And then, but then Franklin was like pitching these people, and you know, she's like, well, this is boring. If the person is boring, the death is boring. It does not matter how they died, just it's boring. And so all of a sudden he brings up this guy named Dr. Jared, and Kara's like, oh my god, Dr. Jared died? And apparently this is a guy that Kara had interviewed before for this thing on maybe nanobots. I can't exactly, like nanotechnology. I can't exactly remember what it was about, but it was something to do with very, very cutting edge technology. And she was like, isn't that really suspicious that this guy who was super young and a huge pioneer in this brand new crazy technology, like, isn't it weird that he just dropped dead of a heart attack at, like, you know, a super young age? Like, that's not normal. Kara's like, I want to investigate. But William, being absolutely super shady, he was like, nah, it's not interesting. I already looked into it, Kara. So don't bother. And Andrea's like, yeah, Kara, don't bother. But he is absolutely shady, William is, because he was one of the last people to see Dr. Jared alive, which was really interesting. He kind of is like begging with him to work with him. And then he Dr. Jared kind of like brushes him off and goes and meets our villain of the week, which is the Spider Lady. And then he meets his inevitable doom. And then at the end of the episode, also from William, we see him get a huge, like, pile of cash, like, from this guy. And he's at a bench, and it's just, like, in an envelope. And, like, that's definitely very shady. And I've seen some people theorizing about how maybe, like, you know, all the kinds of shady dealings that William could be doing. And I think my favorite one is that he's working with Leviathan because his wife is being held captive by Leviathan. And I am inclined this season to believe that literally everything is connected to Leviathan, because at the end of season 4, that old lady was like, Leviathan is everywhere. So I believe that that was kind of foreshadowing to be like, all of these kind of confusing and disconnected storylines that you're seeing, all of it has to do with Leviathan. You'll see when we kind of wrap it all up. But right now, it feels kind of confusing and disconnected. And I think that's one of the only flaws that I see this season, really, is that it's got all of these different things going on at once, and it's a bit hard to like keep your head around, but it'll get better. So now I'm going to talk about Brainy and Nia and about their trouble in paradise. Brainy, he's being kind of annoying as usual. He's annoying Nia. We see Nia looking real soft after getting out of the shower. That was very sweet. I love Nicole Maines. She's so cute. And he's still reading poems, and apparently every hour on the hour he sends Nia a poem dedicated to a different body part. So like there was an example that he had almost read later in the episode where he's like, an ode to Nia Nall's left earlobe. I'm like, oh my god. I want to read Brainy's, like, I want to read them. I'm very, very interested in reading all of his poems dedicated to all of Nia's body parts. Like, I want to know what he said about her left earlobe. I'm curious. But at the end of the episode, we see Nia telling Brainy that the poems and the food is all too much for her. We finally see them communicate. We finally see Nia communicate what she's been feeling for the past, 2 episodes. We finally see her, or I guess for just the last episode, whatever. We see her communicate those feelings to Brainy, and Brainy looks absolutely heartbroken. He's like, you told me to be myself, but now you say that, like, I'm too much. Like, I can only be at 100 all the time. Like, I can't take it down. Like, I don't know. I love everything about this relationship, because I feel like seeing Brainy, like, kind of break down like that and be like, you told me that I could be myself, and now you're telling me that I'm too much. And like, it's so honest and real and earnest, and it's so genuine. Like, all of it just feels real. Like, you're watching this and you're like, this is a real relationship. Like, and I think it all has to do with the amazing chemistry between Jesse and Nicole, and like the great writing between Nia and Brainy, and Nia is crying as Brainy is walking out the door. He just leaves. And it seems that Brainy, like, lives with Nia now, like, so I had to wonder, like, where did he go? Like, where did Brainy go? Did he go to the DEO? Did he go, to the alien bar? Like, where did he go? 'Cause he, like, I feel like he kind of put everything in Nia's basket. You know what I mean? Like, he moved in, it seems, basically. He moved in, and he, like, was giving her 100 all the time, like he said. And now he's like, well, I guess it's over, so where do I go from here? And I hope we get to see like what he does. Like I hope that Alex like finds him like at the DEO or something at like an odd hour. I would like that a lot, because I think that we deserve to see, you know, how Brainy's brain functions, like how he works, and I think we deserve to see that kind of development for him, and to see this more like emotional, vulnerable side of him. And then I'm really excited to see what they do with Nia as well, because obviously, you know, she doesn't know what to do. She's like, I love you, Brainy, but you need to like take it down a notch. And he's like, I physically like cannot do that. Like my brain is not capable of taking it down a notch. And I'm really intrigued to see how their relationship plays out. I really hope that it's not like this forever. Like I hope that they're not broken up for very long. I hope they can work it out, but I am really interested to see how it goes, because I feel like Supergirl has always had a hard time writing relationships that feel real. And this one, I don't know, this one just feels real to me. Like, I didn't like Sanvers, I didn't like Caramel, like, I don't know, like, they just never felt, like, real or, like, organic or, you know, as earnest and genuine as Brainy and Nia. So, God, I hope they get back together, but I am genuinely kind of concerned about Brainy's well-being after, you know, like this woman that I think genuinely like is in love with, you know, like he said, like, I love you, Nia, and all, like he's in love with her. And now she says, after saying like, you just be yourself, like now she doesn't want that. You know, what can that do to somebody who hears that, you know, who hears the woman that he loves say, you're too much for me. You're too much and I can't handle you. I'm really intrigued. I hope we get to dive into that, because I think we deserve to see it for him. And then also more relationship drama. We have Alex, who, again, really didn't have a whole lot to do this episode besides encouraging Kara to continue to mend her friendship with Lena, and then also being like, stop breaking the law. That's illegal. And then Kara's like, well, everything at the DEO that we do is illegal. And Alex is like, touche. I thought that was really funny. I actually thought that was so funny. Like Kara just being like, literally everything that I ever do is not legal. Like I am basically a vigilante. Just because I have powers does not make me not a vigilante. And Brainy just hacked into this place. Like, you know, that is illegal as well. Like, it was really funny, because honestly, like, that's kind of been like this weird unspoken thing the whole entire time that Supergirl has been around. Like, all of the things that they've done with the DEO that have totally been not legal. It's just really funny to finally have it pointed out on the show. But really, that's really all Alex gets to do until we get to Kelly. I'm going to talk about stuff that Kelly did just to keep it a little bit in order, because then I'll talk about Alex and Kelly a little bit more at the end of my Kelly segment. But here's my Kelly segment. So Kelly, we see her at the beginning of the episode literally giving therapy to this woman she does not even know, literally just met, like works at this stand or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, Kelly. And Alex is like, oh my God, Kelly. And Kara's like, Kelly, do you even know this woman? She's like, no, I just met her. Why did she just tell you her whole life story? Because that's my job, Kara. It was like, well, this lady's not paying you. So that was a really interesting thing to see from Kelly, that she is just so open and so genuine and so kind-hearted and such an incredible, like, empathetic human being that, you know, she's willing to just like listen to anybody who's willing to talk. And I really, really like that about her. But in this episode, you know, we get shown that is not necessarily a great quality to have. So she gets tricked in this episode into helping Malefic disguised as somebody Kelly knew from the army, who apparently was played by Sean Astin. Rudy. But like they weren't allowed, the press weren't allowed to talk about it. It was like a big surprise. But the real surprise was that I had no idea. I didn't know. I had no idea that this man's was Sean Astin. Like, when I looked at him, like, literally, I was like, that meme of Keke Palmer where she's like, I hate to say it, I hope it don't sound ridiculous, I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street and I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man. That was me looking at Sean Astin. I had no idea that he was supposed to be special. I was just like, oh, it's just like a guy who, Kelly knew. But no, like, it's fully like Sean Astin. Like, whoops. I feel like if they had actually like talked about it, people would be talking about it, but nobody was talking about it because I don't think anybody recognized him. Because I feel like most of the people that watch the show are like in my age bracket, and all I know him from is Rudy because we had to watch it in Health. And he looks totally different. Like, so I don't know. But anyway, so Sean Astin was there and he was basically like, hey, can you just take me into your lab tonight and like do this? Because Kelly, I'm going to hurt myself. And Kelly's like, no, you're not going to hurt yourself. I'm going to, come on, come to Obsidian later tonight. We will, get you into the contacts, because she didn't have any openings for any appointments till like Friday or something. I don't know. It wasn't even that long. I'm like, Malefic, be patient. But anyway, so he short circuits the contacts because he's an alien with like psychic powers. And Kelly is like, what is happening? But then she's like, you're him, like you're Jean's brother. And then he kind of short circuits the whole entire thing, busts out of there, and then like starts transforming into different people. But apparently, because of this moment that they shared when they both were wearing this obsidian technology, Kelly can now see him due to like this glowing like energy around him. So Kelly can tell when he's shifted into a different person. So I thought at the moment, like if you saw me live tweeting, you would have thought that I was going insane. I was literally tweeting like in all caps, like, Kelly has powers, Kelly has powers, Kelly has powers, Kelly has powers. But she doesn't have powers. Apparently she could just see Sean's brother. It's not super exciting, but it was still really cool. And she's unfortunately at the end of this episode forced to go away to like be protected from Malefic, which was very upsetting. I'm like, don't take Kelly away. We just got her. I'm very upset by this. And so was Alex. And I was so heartbroken when Alex was like, you have to go. You have to get out of here. Like, you have to be safe. And Kelly was like, you want me to go away? Like, that was so upsetting. Like, we just got Danson and we just got Kelly. Please let me keep them. Which I know that obviously, like, she's not going anywhere, but it's still, like, I already miss Danson. Like, we didn't even get to see them interact that much, but I already miss them. And so that leads to James, who, of course, as soon as he's leaving, they figure out how to write him. How lovely. I actually like him now, and now he's gonna go. I'm like, damn, why didn't you just keep him the same kind of like douchey jerk ass that he's always been from 2 to 4? Like, what? Like, why now? Why start writing him like season 1 now? Like, are you kidding? So he helps Kara with her sleuthing. He's very enjoyable. He is like Kara's partner in crime. Like, that's literally what he feels like. And it was just so upsetting because I'm like, now he's gonna go, and I don't want him to go. I'm like, man, James, I'm gonna miss you. And then he also helps Kara as guardian when fighting the spider lady, and he gets like the spider on him, and then they have to like suck it off with like this magical vacuum. It's really gross. I hate spiders. I don't even want to talk about the spider lady. I hate spiders. But then James is then the one who takes Kelly, so they're going on an Olsen family road trip. So I think that'll be super interesting actually, because I like James, I like Kelly, I love when they interact. Like in the beginning of this episode, that was just like super cute. Olsen siblings, Danvers siblings kind of going at it. I thought that was so cute. But it was, obviously it was really upsetting to see him take Kelly away. But I think it'll be really interesting, to see what shenanigans they get up to on the road. So that brings us to Lena and Kara. Lena cannot figure out how to make these Q waves or whatever in the brain, not totally like rewrite someone's brain, but then also like not, like, 'cause she's just trying to like okay, so Hope literally says, quote, "You don't want a world of robots, you just want better people." So Lena's literally like, I just want to erase the part of people's brains that like makes them hurt other people, not like mind control them at all. So we see that, and then Hope like gives Lena a hug, which was like super funny and super weird. And Andrea, first of all, does such an amazing job as like Hope Eve, like Hope and Eve, like the, Hope Eve, or excuse me, Hope in Eve. Like, she does such an amazing job as that, because she has this like robotic, like kind of not accent, but you know what I mean, like a robotic kind of lit to her voice. And it's so good because it's so subtle and different from Eve's voice, but also like robotic, but it's not quite Siri, and it's not quite like, it's not ridiculous, because a lot of the time, when people do these robot voices, it's super hammy, super ridiculous, like it takes you out of it. But Andrea does like such a good job. So I don't really enjoy this storyline of Hope totally taking over Eve. Like, I just don't like that. But I do really enjoy seeing Andrea play this version of Eve. I think it's really, really interesting. It's really cool to see. I really like it. 'Cause she's such a good actress. And really, when she was Eve, obviously we had that twist at the end, and she did such a good job there. But before that, she didn't really get to do a whole lot, because she was just Eve, like Lena's assistant, whatever. Like, she just didn't have a whole lot of emotional depth to her. But now she does, and I think that's really cool. And she has a lot to work with. So I'm excited to see what she does, in the coming episodes with this Hope Eve situation. And also we see Hope influencing Lena in this episode. Like, even if it wasn't super like blatantly obvious, I feel like it happened anyway. Like, we see her suggesting Lex's journals. Like, we see her kind of being like, well, there's no way that you could get them. Like, kind of, I don't know. It's just a lot of like really subtle things that I just feel like are gonna like add up at one point to like Lena, kind of going off the deep end into this like Hope world, like being controlled by Hope, and like, then Lena eventually is like, well, I know who can break into that place and get those journals for me. Supergirl. So she tells Kara, she's like, hey Kara, I need Lex's journals because I've got PTSD and I want to read them to get more. And Kara's like, absolutely, I will get them for you right now. And Lena's like, well, I'm not going to ask you to do that. And Kara's like, you're not asking, I'm offering. And after she kind of goes away, Kara flies away, we see Lena literally with tears in her eyes, looking apprehensive and looking guilty, because I don't think she genuinely expected Kara to literally like jump on this opportunity to help her and to literally break the law like for Lena. Like, she's willing to do so much for Lena, and I think Lena like is realizing how good of a person Kara is, like, because I think that's going to be Lena's dilemma, like, because Kara has such good like intentions and motives, and she's such a good person that, like, why take away the part of her brain that makes her lie or whatever? Like, I think that Lena is gonna see, well, Kara is still a good person even though she lies sometimes, even though she inadvertently hurts people sometimes. Like, I think that Lena is going to like see that maybe people can be good people and still lie, or people can be good people and do that, so, because right now she's thinking black and white, like, that's it, like, people are good or people are bad, people lie or they don't, and in doing so, in trying to rid the world of liars and people who hurt other people, she's literally lying and hurting other people. And that's why I don't think any of this makes sense. And that's why I just think that this is totally like a Hope thing. Like Lena is all about logic, and her logic doesn't work. Her logic does not work when she's lying and hurting people and doing this to further her own agenda of ridding the world of liars and people who hurt people. And that's just why I genuinely don't think this is Lena. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm a fool. I don't know. But I just don't believe that this is all Lena's doing, you know? Because she kind of jumps on these out of character opportunities so quickly. And somebody even mentioned in the comments of my last video that, I mean, Jack experimented on himself with the nanobots. Like, he made himself like that nanobot creature thing. Who's to say that Lena didn't do that Lena didn't try it on herself first, you know? And so maybe like it's already I don't know. You can listen to the last episode to hear like in depth about my theory about Hope controlling Lena, but I don't know. I genuinely just believe that this is not Lena. Like, it's not. So then Kara, this is kind of Kara's side of things. She's super nervous for her lunch date with Lena. She just wants everything to go well. She's like, this is the first time that we're hanging out post reveal. And the thing is that to get lunch, she flew to Paris, Milan, and Dublin to get all of Lena's favorite foods. Are you kidding? That is literally straight out of a Supercorp fanfic. Like, listen, I try to be like pretty, you know, pretty like unbiased, I guess, when it comes to my reactions and my recaps and reviews of Supergirl, but god damn, this was so romantic. The whole entire episode was so romantically coded. And I'm going to talk about that later. I have like a rant about it to go on. But to see to see Kara literally flying across the world to pick up Lena lunch, like that has happened in so many Supercorp fanfics, and I just want to have a word with the writers. Like, what are you reading? What are your recommendations? Have you read the Midvale in Canada AU? Like, have you read that by I think it's by Jasfordshire? Like, oh my god, have you read that? Like, I just want to know what they're reading and what they're pulling their inspiration from, because it's genuinely like all of it is fanfic material. And even later we get she steals the journals. Finally she steals the journals, and then she shows up at Lena's apartment and like kind of floats outside and looks at Lena from her window. Like, that is literally a scene in like every single Supercorp fanfic. Are you kidding me? And then she slowly she kind of waves to Lena, and like she looks so soft and so earnest and so genuine, and it broke my heart. And then, you know, we see Kara say, or Lena says, you know, I hope we haven't crossed any boundaries. And Kara says, for a friend like you, there are no boundaries. And that scene, at the same exact time that scene was happening, they interlaced it with the dancing, like, goodbye scene. I'm like, this is so romantic. Like, it really genuinely is. And it's just crazy. I'm like, either we're getting baited again or Supercorp is endgame. Like, I don't know what is going on, but hopefully it's Supercorp endgame, because this is too much. So really quick, I do want to talk about all of this romantic coding that's going on, because I also see a lot of pushback from it, and I read this thing that was like, you know, they keep saying best friends, like, with Kara and Lena, so that they can be like, this is you doing this, like, this is on you, not our fault that you're reading too much into this. Like, the writers are being like kind of washing their hands of it by saying best friend. But do you know how many straight couples that have been on TV that have been like slow burns have been just friends, or like besties for the resties? Like, I can name Castle and Beckett, Lucifer and Chloe, like literally, who else? I don't know, Oliver and Felicity, maybe? I don't know. Iris and Barry, are you kidding? They were like, nope, we're not getting explicit on this episode. They were literally siblings. Iris and Barry were literally siblings. Like, just so many. Like, that is a common trope to use. Like, you can't be like, well, it's not our thing if you're just like, they're just friends. Like, that's a common trope that is used in romantic situations literally all the time. Literally all the time. So that's not even an excuse. Like, what? No. Like, that's not even a thing. No. That's just, I rebuke that. I rebuke that for sure. And so I also want to talk about some of the Lois parallels that we see, like Clark and Lois and to Supercorp, because honestly, like, it's crazy how often they parallel Supercorp with Clark and Lois, because it's like, dude, if you didn't want it to be romantic, like, why would you pair it with, this ship that is so iconic? Because there's like a scene from, I think it was Dean Cain's Superman, but it also could have been Christopher Reeve's I think it was Christopher Reeve's Superman. I can't remember. Whichever Superman had the logo on the back of their cape in yellow. I think it's Dean Cain, but because somebody was saying that it was a parallel to the show Clark and Lois, then that was Dean Cain for sure. But it also kind of looks like Christopher Reeves, but I think it's Dean Cain. Where it's literally the exact same shot. Like, literally the exact same shot. And it's a shot of the back of Superman looking like at Lois before he actually like goes up to her while she's just sitting. And then we have this shot of the back of Kara looking at Lena while she's just like sitting. Like this like romantic longing thing. It's just what? And you cannot tell me that this is like unintentional or whatever, because of how much the show has always paid homage to these old Superman references. So they know what they're doing. Like, this is not a surprise to them that, oh, whoa, look at that. Can you believe that there was a shot just like that in this Clark and Lois show? Like, no, they knew that. Like, they knew. I know they knew. Like, this is stuff that I don't know. All I know is that Supercorp is like, I don't know. It's just too much. Like, she literally broke into a government agency. Like, are you kidding me? She just broke into a government agency to like steal something for Lena. Like, oh my god. What? I don't know. And like, I don't know, people just like jump through so many hoops to deny that Supercorp is like being definitely teased, and like, maybe not being like foreshadowed, but like being planted. Like, some seeds have been planted, like if they ever wanted to go that direction. Like, so I don't know, you just can't deny that. I don't know, like, you just can't. You cannot deny all of this romantic coding and the romantic undertones of some of these scenes. And I was thinking about it too, like, speaking of Sophie and Kate, and like Iris and Barry and Oliver and Felicity, speaking of all of those couples, more often than not, at least in the Arrowverse, the endgame couple is established like super early for the main protagonist of the show, like either season 1 or season 2, like, because I doubt that we'll see Sophie endgame in season 1. I think it'll be season 2 before Sophie divorces her husband. But anyway, so for Kara, like, that's literally Lena. Like, it's either James, Mon-El, or Lena, or Adam, but they wouldn't bring him back because he's literally Melissa's ex-husband. Like, they would never bring him back. So, and with James leaving, and with, I think, Chris Wood wanting to stay like a million miles away from Supergirl, and everybody else wanting him to stay even further away from Supergirl, like, there's no other option. Like, if they want Kara to have like this endgame like love interest, it's Lena. Like, this is the long established relationship that they have on the show. Like, I don't know, they just don't have another like long relationship for Kara, like the way that they had with West Allen and the Olicity, and the way that they're gonna have with Bat Sophie, and I don't know. All I know is that everything that Supercorp does is super romantically coded, and that's just the truth, and that's just the tea. So that's it. Also, I wanted to talk about this really, really quick. I just wanted to mention it really quick. I know I'm running really long, but I saw this post from 72 Gert on Tumblr, and it says, I think it's being a bit overlooked that Kara is keeping Alex in the loop with what's going on with Lena versus isolating herself with what was happening with Mon-El, which is true. Kara totally like isolated herself from everybody when dealing with Mon-El and what was going on with him. And then at the same time, Alex being in her honeymoon phase with Kelly but still aware of everyone else and sharing her own situation with Kara versus when she was totally absorbed with Maggie and not reaching out unless she's already messed up. And it was just an opinion or like a cool post about the Danvers sisters' relationships. But I also think it's a really cool post about the health of these relationships that they're talking about, and then also about their growth as characters, because Kara, like I've said, she's standing up for herself. She's more confident. It's totally different this season than she was in season 1 and season 2. Same thing with Alex. Like, she was literally, honestly, kind of like, that was her first, like, quote, real relationship, because that was the first time that she ever actually, like, enjoyed being in a relationship. Like, yes, she had relationships with men, but that doesn't make her any less of a lesbian, by the way. Caramels, who love to ship her with Maxwell Lord. Disgusting, first of all. Anyway, like, so this is the first time that she ever actually had a relationship that she felt comfortable in and felt safe in, and so she like did so much. Like, she just kind of threw herself into Maggie, and then threw herself into this engagement with Maggie, and kind of isolated herself from Kara the same way that Kara did with Alex when she was with Mon-El. Like, it just shows like the kind of unhealthy aspects of those relationships and the really, really healthy aspects of Kara and Lena and Alex and Kelly, which I love. And then I also really quick want to talk about the ratings. So the ratings, it was a series low. It was a series low for the show, which is really sad, because I guess, I don't know, I think it's, like I said earlier, the fact that the show is kind of, all of the storylines seem very disconnected and very random and very, like, different from each other and a little bit hard to follow. But I think once it all, like, connects to Leviathan in the end, like, it'll definitely be better. And I think, unfortunately, the fact that they kind of have to deal with the aftermath of Crisis instead of the build-up to Crisis is definitely not helping either. Because I feel like more people are watching Flash and Arrow to make sure they're caught up for this huge, huge, huge crossover event, like, so this build up to Crisis. And I also feel like Crisis is hurting them in that way, where they're like, well, we can't develop our main storyline too much, but we really have to, like, start, because after Crisis, like, we have to keep going with that, but then there's also, like, Crisis right in the middle of all of it. So I feel like they're kind of between a rock and a hard place with what they can do with their storytelling, which really does suck for them. So, obviously I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt with all of this, because the episodes have been good. They're just kind of boring, not super memorable, but also at the same time, like, too much. I don't know. I guess the thing is that there hasn't been, like, a whole bunch of, like, super memorable moments for them. But the best ways that you can help with this situation is to stream the episode on the CW's app or their website. If you live outside of the United States, you can download a VPN and then change your location to the United States, and then stream it that way, and then that will count as a US stream because your computer thinks you're in the United States. You can also rewatch if you DVR'd the episode. So if you recorded it on your TV, please rewatch it, even if you're not even watching it. Like, because that's another thing. Like, you don't actually have to sit and watch the episode. You could just like have it on in the background. You could just mute it. Like, whatever you do, like if you just turn it on and let it play, then that counts as a view and it counts as a stream and it counts as a good thing towards Supergirl. And I cannot stress this enough. I know that I talked about this last time, but tweet with the hashtag. Live tweet Supergirl with the hashtag. What I do is I copy the like hashtag Supergirl and then I just paste it at the end of all of my tweets to make it super easy and make sure that I don't misspell the hashtag when I'm like live tweeting. And I know that sometimes it sucks to like have to think about adding this hashtag, but it genuinely helps the show. Like I said last time, Legends of Tomorrow Stars, I think it was like Katie Lotz had said, and like Jess McCallan had said that like, and the CW's own boss, like they don't look at ratings really all that much unless they're absolutely horrible. But they really genuinely look at tweets, viewer engagement. Like that's how they measure viewer engagement, because I think they realize that not everybody has, you know, a Nielsen box to like record, you know, to make sure that they count in the ratings, especially like in our age group. But also, if you live like in an apartment building or like in a dorm building, then you'll definitely have a Nielsen box. So make sure that you just kind of have on the show live, like at that time. Again, you don't have to watch it. Just have it on in the background. So yeah, just, you know, make sure that you're doing that. Go leave a rating on IMDb for the episode. Go leave a rating on Rotten Tomatoes for the season, and then you could also go on Netflix. I know that it's on Netflix in most countries, I think. So even if you watch the old episodes on Netflix, it still shows that people are interested. Preferably watch from like season 4, because then it looks like you're catching up for the new season. So yeah, kind of do that. Not to like preach at you or anything, but I think it's kind of an easy thing to do to help the show out. So, you know, we all love Supergirl. We all want her to be around for a very long time. So let's help her out. Let's help her out. Really quick, final notes. Oh yeah, I also wanted to talk about really quick the Spider Lady. I don't really want to talk about her, but we gotta. I want to talk about her connection to Leviathan. Because they were like, "Who do you work for?" And then she ran away. So obviously she works for Leviathan. And I think Leviathan wanted this tech guy dead because obviously they want this competition like out of the way. Because if they're working with Obsidian, they don't want any like competing technology like to get in the way of what they're doing with Obsidian and probably in the end mind control all of National City. Which honestly, if my theory about Hope and Lena is right, then they needed that information of Lex's to be able to mind control all of the people who have these Obsidian contacts, because that's honestly what I think the end is. It's kind of going to be Myriad all over again, where they're trying to mind control everybody. So I think that they needed that information from Lex, so they're using Lena by making Hope like, you know, control Lena and put things in her head and make her do stuff that she wouldn't normally do. I just genuinely think that that Lena like fully is being under the control of Hope, and that in order to meet Leviathan's end in the way that, you know, they want to, with probably controlling anybody that has these Obsidian contacts, then they need to have this information on Q waves and mind control from Lex Luthor. So they use Lena to use Kara to get that, to like meet their end. It's all very complicated and connected. And honestly, if this is how it's gonna go, like if this is what's actually happening, hats off to the Supergirl writers, because this is really cool that everything is connected. Like, I don't know, it's just really awesome. I love these kinds of stories where like literally every single thing is connected. So kudos to them if that's actually what's happening. If it's not, I'm still probably going to be impressed by whatever you pull out, but really, really excited about that. Obviously, I had more to talk about than I thought I did. Jesus. I just fully was like, I just don't feel like I have a whole lot to talk about this episode, but obviously I did. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Tweet me at Televised Podcast, or excuse me, no, it's not at Televised Podcast. It's tweet me at Televised Pod. Let me know what you thought of the episode. And let me know, I don't know, let me know your feelings on the episode. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you think of this episode of the podcast. You can rate the podcast on iTunes. That'd be really cool. If you're watching on YouTube, you could give it a like. You can leave me a comment on YouTube. That'd be really cool. I read and respond to all of them because I love to read your guys' theories as well. It is so cool because it's just like, I don't know, a fun time. We can share theories and geek out about Supergirl together. And also you can follow on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, do all the things. So yeah, I think that's it for me today, guys. I will see you next week. And I hope you guys enjoy the new episode of Supergirl next week. I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.